What is up, noobs and noobettes? Charles or Atingleee here, and welcome back to another video, guys. So today's video is going to be how to get gold/diamond combat knife as quickly as possible. The combat knife in this game is actually really fun to use, and you shouldn't really struggle too much to get gold for this thing. To be honest, it took me about an hour and a half to 2 hours, so hopefully it doesn't take you guys too long either. Either way, let's jump into the actual challenges required to get this in gold. So firstly, you have to get 100 kills with the weapon, then you have to get 80 kills from behind, 25 kills from the front, 50 kills while you have no primary weapon, 25 kills while sliding, 10 double kills, as well as 10 3-kill streaks. Doing all these challenges will get you gold, and I believe getting gold for all the secondary weapons will get you diamond. Either way, let's jump into some gameplay and give you some individual set of tips. Okay, so let's start it off with the 100 kills. Obviously this is going to happen naturally, guys, but you definitely want to try to play some objective game modes like domination and kill confirmed. With domination, it makes it a lot easier for you to predict where the enemies are depending on their base flag. And also kill confirmed is just really good with a combat knife. Every time you knife someone, it'll confirm the kill, so that's pretty fucking awesome. But yeah, man, definitely play one of these game modes. And also the tracker perk is your friend, man. It'll help you tremendously when using the combat knife. It'll allow you to see where an enemy recently walked, and you never know, it might actually reveal the position of an enemy that you didn't even know was around. So it'll definitely make it a lot easier for you to get more kills more quickly, and you should definitely equip that perk, guys. Next up is getting 80 kills from behind. You always want to keep this challenge in mind when you're running around with the combat knife, guys. This will just make sure that you're actually aiming to achieve those backstabber medals, and it'll make sure you're always taking those flank routes and doing your best to get behind the enemy. Also, if you approach an enemy from the side, make sure you actually walk up behind them, because sometimes if you're at a bit of an angle, it actually won't count as a backstabber medal, and that can definitely be frustrating at times. You always want to make sure you're paying attention to your map. If you see a red dot and you can kind of predict which way the enemy is looking, you can make sure that you take a flank route and catch them off guard, and this will just pretty much be a free kill for you. Also, and probably the most important thing, is to make sure that you're using a rig that will make it a lot easier for you. Things like phase shift and active camo will make it a lot easier for you to flank the enemy and get those kills from behind. Also, you can use things like pulsar just to know exactly where enemies are, and that'll just make it a lot easier to plan your mode of attack. And also, I used FTL jump for a bit, and this was really good just to quickly get up in the enemy's face and get those kills. But you could also use it to quickly jump right behind the enemy and then stab that motherfucker in the back. Next up is getting 25 kills from the front. This is probably the easiest of all the challenges, because most of your kills will be from the front or from the side. So pretty much the same as the first challenge. It's going to happen naturally, guys, and make sure you're playing those objective game modes just to more easily predict where the enemies are and get into more engagements and just speed up the process. Next up, we have getting 50 kills with no primary weapon. Honestly, guys, I would recommend running around with just the combat knife at all times and just overload your perks. I would always run around with just the knife and 6 perks, and this allowed me to pretty much finish all the challenges within like an hour and a half. Definitely a lot faster to just always be running around with the combat knife, guys. If you have it on your back, then you won't be getting as many kills with it, and this would just prolong the overall process for yourself. And let's face it, we're trying to get these camos as quickly as possible. Next up, we have get 25 kills while sliding. Honestly, at first I thought this challenge was going to be a bit difficult, but then once I realized how I was playing with the combat knife, it was actually pretty easy, guys. I would honestly recommend sliding around everywhere. This will allow you to move at the maximum speed in the game, and it'll just allow you to get into more engagements and just speed up the overall process for yourself. I would also highly recommend using FTL's power slide trait. This will allow you to slide for longer, and it'll just increase the window for you to get that slide kill. It'll also allow you to slide right up to the person's face and just get right up in their grill. It'll throw them off guard because your character model is going to be in the sliding motion, and they'll have less of you to shoot at, and it'll just make it a lot easier for you to get right in their face and stab that motherfucker. Also, if you find yourself behind an enemy, guys, make sure you slide right up to them and knife them. This will allow you to get the sliding kill as well as the backstabber medal, and you'll be able to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Next up, and I'm going to group these two together, is the 10 double kills and the 10 3-kill streaks. This may be a bit difficult at first, guys, but you need to utilize everything you have in your arsenal. You need to use your rig, you need to use the perks to make sure you stay sneaky, and you also need to pay attention to the minimap and just play it smart, guys. I would highly recommend using phase shift, man. There's nothing better than being able to just completely go invisible and then control where you want to go. You can either go behind the enemy, you can completely run out and run away from the area and avoid the situation. It's up to you. But yeah, I'll definitely recommend using phase shift, guys. It'll make your life a whole lot easier and it'll make it a lot easier for you to finish these challenges. And that's it for my individual tips for each set of challenges. Now some overall tips. So firstly, you want to slide everywhere, guys. Honestly, the sliding mechanic will help you a lot. It kind of throws the enemy's aim off and it'll allow you to get right up into the enemy's face and stab them a lot easier. Also, you want to make sure you're always staying on the move. You don't want an enemy to know where you are in any circumstances whatsoever. Make sure you're sliding, chaining the movements everywhere, stay moving as quickly as possible, and always do your best to flank the enemies. Next up, you want to make sure you're using at least these 3 essential perks. So firstly, you have Ghost. This will allow you to stay off the radar and be more sneaky. Next is Tracker. This will reveal the position of enemies you didn't even know were around, or just allow you to know which direction to head in when you see those footsteps. It is probably one of the most important perks to use and it'll just simplify your whole existence, guys. Make sure you're using Tracker. And lastly, we have Dead Silence. This will just allow you to sneak around undetected and make it a lot easier for you to flank the enemies. I also used Overclock. This allowed me to earn my phase shift more often in the game and just made it a lot easier for me to complete some of the specific challenges. I also used Cold Blooded. This doesn't put a red name above your head, and honestly, I'd be looking straight at an enemy sometimes and they wouldn't realize I was an enemy because they wouldn't see my red name. So it's definitely pretty funny just running straight up to someone and stabbing them in the face. And also, I like to use Engineer in the 3rd perk slot. This kind of let me know where the enemies were, if I could see some of their equipment or something, and so it just helped me out when I needed to determine which general direction I should head in. Also, as I mentioned before, you definitely want to use one of the following payloads. You want either phase shift, FTL jump, pulsar, or camo. These will allow you to either be sneaky or just know exactly where the enemies are and just catch people off guard, and it'll just help you a lot, guys. I can't stress this enough. Your rig is a big deal when you're running around with this combat knife, so you want to make sure you choose your payload wisely. My next tip is to make sure you avoid long lines of sight as much as possible, guys. If you find yourself in a situation where you do have to cut across a long line of sight, you want to walk right up to the corner of the wall, take a quick peek like you're a creepy ex-girlfriend trying to stalk someone. If there's nobody there, then you can quickly make your way to a closer range engagement and make sure you're staying safe. Or if there is someone there, then you know that you shouldn't cross through there because you're pretty much helpless in those situations and you definitely need to turn back and find another route. And my last and final tip, guys, is to make sure you're having fun, man. At the end of the day, we're all playing COD to have fun, and if you're not having fun, then what the fuck are you doing, dude? If you're starting to get pissed off or aggravated, put that combat knife down, maybe do some other weapon camo challenges, or maybe don't do any challenges at all, man. Just play normally and tear that ass up until you calm down a bit. There's nothing worse than playing pissed off. You make silly decisions, piss yourself off even more, and it is not worth it, guys. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it for this vid, dude. If you found it useful or enjoyed it at any point, be sure to drop a like. If you're new to this channel and you found this useful in any way, drop that subscribe, man. Gonna be a lot of tip videos coming out, so definitely something to look forward to. Leave me a comment letting me know what you thought of the video. Leave a like if you love Atingleee. I'll catch you all in the next video. Until next time, peace out, noobs.